Look at this, students. This is actually a continuation of the internal and external environments, the tools of situation analysis. What is a situation analysis? Nothing but where the organization is standing in the current moment. How does the organization stand? What is its environment, both external and internal, right? So how an organization is standing today, that is a situation analysis. We do this so that we are better prepared for the future. Now, just like we discussed the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities and the threats, right? That is also a situation analysis, and that is called SWOT, S-W-O-T. So let us look at some of the tools of situation analysis. First one is the SWOT analysis. That is, in a way, you have already done. You said the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. The strengths and the weaknesses, opportunities and strengths. Strengths and weaknesses are what? Are nothing but the internal environment. And the opportunities and threats were nothing but the external environment. Yes or no? This is called the SWOT analysis, which is done for an organization, which is done for an individual. A strength, weakness, opportunities and threat analysis is done in several spheres. Similarly, you have a PEST analysis, P-E-S-T analysis, which is a way of analyzing the external environment and consists of political, the economic, the socio-cultural and technological. It has evolved more to also include, we call it PESTL now, PESTL. So L and E, that is legal and the ecological or environmental changes. Similarly, you have Potter's 5 forces. Potter's 5 forces, which helps to understand competitive power. Helps to understand competitive power. The customer competition. What is the competition from new products? What is the what is the competition from new entrants? And so on and so forth. Similarly, you have the 5C analysis. 5C analysis, which actually began with the 3C analysis of company, customer, competition, and has moved on to 5C analysis. Anyway, these are the tools which each of which we shall discuss in detail. Each of which we shall discuss in detail. The SWOT analysis, strength, weaknesses, opportunities and threats, is something we have already done. This is how we could place it like this. What are helpful for the objectives? Strengths and opportunities are what will help us to achieve our objectives quickly. So we need to build on our strengths and make the most of the opportunities. What is harmful? Harmful? The weaknesses. Our weaknesses are harmful. So what do? We try to overcome these weaknesses. And we try to minimize our threats. Yes or no? And remember, strengths and weaknesses were the internal attributes. Opportunities and threats are the external attributes. Correct? That is a SWOT analysis. Strengths, weakness, opportunities and threats. What are the strengths? Strengths are qualities of the business that give it an advantage over the others. Make the most of them. Weaknesses are characteristics of the business that place the business at a disadvantage when compared to the others. So what do? Try to minimize these, try to overcome these. Yes or no? Maybe training, maybe more recruitment, etc. Opportunities are elements in the environment that the business must use to its advantage. What are the opportunities in the environment that the business can make the most of? And threats are the elements which pose a danger to the profitability. Best is avoid them or try to minimize as far as possible. Be aware of this. So SWOT analysis is nothing but a tool which gives an overall view of the organization's strategic position. right? It tells us, highlights the need for a strategy so that it fits. Look at this. It fits between the internal capability and the external situation. Yes or no? They tell us how to sit between. What is the perfect fit? We have these capabilities, but this is our external situation. What can we do best so that our objectives are achieved faster? And as a result of this, we generate conversion strategies. What do you mean by conversion strategies, students? Conversion strategies is converting weaknesses into strengths, converting threats into opportunities. Yes or no? Weaknesses, convert them to strengths. How do you, like we said, how do you convert our weakness into strengths? If there is lack of experience, recruit people with experience. If there is lack of skill, give training. Yes or no? Empower your employees. Change the organizational culture if that has to be. Yes or no? So converting weaknesses into strengths and converting threats, if possible, into opportunities. So SWOT analysis will help us to generate certain conversion strategies. Now, TOWS is nothing but SWOT in the reverse order. This is linking SWOT to strategic planning. Now, how do we use the SWOT analysis for planning? We need to evaluate, prioritize, and identify actions. Now, we have already discussed the SWOT analysis and said that we build on the strengths, we eliminate or minimize the weaknesses, we exploit the opportunities, and we minimize or avoid the threats. This was clear. Now, when you are trying to frame a strategy, when you are taking into consideration SWOT, what is said is, it is better that you reverse the order. You look first at the threats and the opportunities. That means you look at the external environment first, because these are not so much within our control. Yes, see what you can do about it. What are the opportunities which are available and you can make the most use of? What are the threats? How serious are they? And how we should avoid them or minimize them. Right? Based on this, after we have evolved, come to a conclusion from here, then let us move on to our weaknesses, what we can do to reduce the weaknesses, and then build on our strengths. Is it clear? It is nothing but they say that this way it is when we look at the external environment first and then at the internal environment, we draw conclusions faster, because when we try to discuss only the internal organization, sometimes we get nowhere. So these are the strategies which can be thing. If you take it into a format where you have strengths and weaknesses, you have opportunities and threats. What happens here? The strategies here use the strengths and take advantage of opportunities. Yes or no? These are the SO strategies which are taking care of the strengths and advantage of the opportunities. Right? Now, if you look at this, this is what you have: your strengths, use them to avoid or minimize the threats. That is another kind of strategy. Use your strengths to avoid or minimize the threats. Correct? Now let's look at the WO strategies. What do you think? That's weakness and opportunity. So what do? Strategies here will take advantage of the opportunities by overcoming our weakness. So we see a particular opportunity. Now what? Now we know there is this opportunity. So what do we do now? So let us do one thing. Let us overcome our weakness. Why are we not able to take care of this opportunity? What do we lack? Let us therefore try to overcome that weakness. Similarly, WT strategies here will minimize weakness and avoid the threats. Yes or no? Let us not get into this area. Let us find out the ways in which we avoid or minimize the threats. If it's possible, we overcome or minimize the weaknesses. Is it clear, students? This is how the TOWS can work. It is nothing but a SWOT analysis which tries to make more effective use of the SWOT analysis in formulating strategies. Is there a difference between the two? Both list strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. But the difference is on how to use the tool. In a TOWS analysis, threats and opportunities are examined first, weaknesses and strengths are examined later. Why is this done, students? This is actually, you must understand that so many strategies, so many concepts in management are a matter of evolution and still evolving. That is why the subject can be so interesting. Look at this. This is what Michael Watkins, a professor and economist at Harvard Business School, said. Focusing on threats and opportunities first helps lead to productive discussions about what is going on in the external environment, rather than getting bogged down in abstract discussions about what a company is good at or bad at. He had personal experience when he was trying to apply the SWOT analysis in companies and they started discussing their strengths and weaknesses. There was so much of discussion, but there is no concrete shape. It becomes very vague. The discussions are all vague. They don't reach a particular conclusion. But when you start focusing on the threats and opportunities, which are one beyond the environment, beyond the organization's control, and it is not so subjective, those are more like facts there, not dependent so much on opinions. So there were productive discussions, a framework could be laid from where they could progress onto the strengths and weaknesses, how to utilize the strengths to make use of the opportunities, how to utilize the strengths to overcome the threats, how to minimize the weaknesses, to take care of the opportunities, and maybe to avoid the threats. Is it clear? So both consist of the same elements of strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats, but the method of using the tool was different, and this has proved, the TOWS has proved to be the much more effective way of laying down a strategy.